So back in the day, there was this game you may know as Duke Nukem Forever that achieved meme status because of how frickin' long that game took to make. That game started development in 1996 and released in 2011. That's 14 years of development time for this one single title. Now, there's this other game that aims to challenge that development time, Beyond Good and Evil 2, which makes Duke Nukem Forever look like Death Stranding's fast turnaround, as that game has been in development for, 15 years now, and it is still, and I kid you not, in early development. Or at least that's what Insider Gaming here reports. Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still in early development. It seems like a joke at this point, reads the article, but several sources have reported that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still in the blocking phase for the most part, with a few small areas with low resolution textures. The article continues, Insider Gaming understands that both external and internal playtesting has continued throughout the summer, with some sources stating that Ubisoft has been expressing that the game is in early development to those fortunate enough to get their hands on the game, as well as internally amongst colleagues and new people coming into the project. Now, we actually saw some gameplay footage of an early build of Beyond Good and Evil 2 back in 2017 or 2018, and at the time we thought, okay, maybe this game is actually shaping up to be something, but apparently the game has been rebooted since. Images and video provided to Insider Gaming under anonymity and under the condition that images don't go public suggest that the game has probably been rebooted since the pre-alpha demo walkthrough shown in 2018, as nothing seen shows the same level of detail. Basically, any footage they saw looked like the game was being played on ultra-low settings. One of the last things that gets refined during game development are the visuals, because you want to set the groundwork first before you start decorating everything and really making it graphically and visually appealing. But yeah, keep in mind, Duke Nukem Forever took 14 years to launch. Beyond Good and Evil 2, it's 15 years into development, and it's still in early development, which means it'll be a couple more years before that game comes out, I was going to say, but who knows at this point, right? For those who don't know, Beyond Good and Evil 2 has been in development since as far back as 2007, as reported here by news outlet GameSpot, all the way back in May of 2008, when it was reported that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is on the way. That has aged poorly, obviously. Michel Ansel, Rayman creator and man behind the original Beyond Good and Evil, has said, I'm working on Beyond Good and Evil 2. We have been in pre-production on the title for a year, so since 2007, and we're currently doing market research, but for the moment, it's still in early stages and Ubisoft still hasn't agreed to it. But it wasn't long after that Ubisoft would not only officially greenlight it, but even announce it. Beyond Good and Evil returns, reported GameSpot back in May 30th, 2008. Ubisoft teases long-rumored sequel to Michel Ansel's action-adventure game at Ubi Day's press event. The tease came in the form of this trailer right here, which I'll skip around through. You can see right here, we pan into a desert where we see the two characters from Beyond Good and Evil 1, Jade and Paige. You got Jade right here. And of course, we got Paige. And this was pretty hype. Beyond Good and Evil might have been kind of niche in terms of how many people got to play that game, but you know, in the gaming realm, it's known that Beyond Good and Evil is a classic that a lot of people really enjoyed, and the sequel has been highly anticipated. So seeing this trailer got a lot of people very, very excited indeed. And then in 2009, another trailer was released where we saw Jade sort of running the streets here, parkouring her way around. And a very cool looking footage at the time that gave us a glimpse of the tone and maybe the graphics fidelity we could have expected back in the day. The kind of action set pieces we can expect. Very cool looking. I remember this when it first released. At one point she like jumps onto this helicopter here and flies away, and Just a very cool looking piece of footage. All of this has been scrapped. It was just a year later, on August of 2009, that it would be reported that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is on hold. So already rough tidings ahead, indications that development was not going well. Though months later, on January of 2010, Ubisoft would insist that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still in development. Ubisoft confirms the title has not been canceled. And then a couple months after that, on August of 2010, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot explained at the time that Beyond Good and Evil 2 must be perfect, that they just want to really take their time with it. And he continued by saying that Michel Ansel's intention is to come out with something really exciting, but everybody needs a little bit of patience. Well, a little bit might be underselling just the amount of patience that we must have for this project. The following year, in 2012, Ubisoft had to remind folks again that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is in fact in active creation and active development, but Ubisoft couldn't commit to a 2013 launch because they just need more tech, suggesting that the game might be in development for the next generation of consoles, for, PlayStation 4, Xbox One. Another year would pass, and on July of 2014, it'd be reported that Michel Ancel started a new studio, but remains at Ubisoft, and he confirmed that he's still working on Beyond Good and Evil 2, but his attention has been split now, and given how long the development of Beyond Good and Evil 2 has taken at this point, people are like, I don't know about this development, and I don't feel like this will have a positive impact on an already very delayed game development cycle. Then another year would pass. On June of 2015, Kotaku would release the following article whose headline reads, "Things are looking grim for Beyond Good and Evil 2." And scrolling down, you'll find a quote from GameSpot's Tamoor Hussain, who said back then that, "I've been told it's been abandoned in a big way. The studio has moved on. The key people from that studio that were making it moved onto other projects outside of Ubisoft, like I said. I might be wrong on that, but I had enough of it to chase that small lead." So more rumors that there was trouble in Paradise, that development was not going well, and then yet another year would pass. On June of 2016, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot had to come out once again and say, "Hey guys, let me assure you that the game's still in development. It has not been canceled. It's just really taking time. Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still being worked on by original creator," says Yves Guillemot. This is the exact quote. "Michel is working on it, but he's doing two games at the same time. He's doing Wild at the same time. It's coming along, but he has to spend more time on it so we can see it faster." Referring to the development back in 2014 when Ansel started a new studio and essentially split his attention on two games. 4 months later, in October of 2016, Ansel himself would release his own statement about why Beyond Good and Evil 2 has taken so long to make. Scrolling down, you'll find the exact quote reported here by GameSpot. "We had too many technical issues. Instead of not doing the game of our dreams, we decided to return to 2D, have fun with Rayman," basically referring to the fact that they decided to make a Rayman game first before releasing Beyond Good and Evil 2, and go back at work for Beyond Good and Evil 2 after that. "We still have lots of work, but now the tech is ready and the team is fantastic." He insisted that the technological foundation has been set, and now that their technology has caught up to their ambitions with Beyond Good and Evil 2, they're actually able to make the game that they want to make instead of having to make compromises. And for a second, things got exciting because the month prior, on September 29th, 2016, Ansel had actually started to tease Beyond Good and Evil 2 through concept art that he'd been posting on Instagram. Looking at his Instagram page, you can actually still find these posts from 325 weeks ago. This is from September 27th, 2016. 2 days later, Ansel would post another concept art of this anthropomorphic creature, a humanoid shark. And then here is one more of a rhinoceros, and people speculating Mamago. Now, while it was obvious that the concept art was for Beyond Good and Evil 2, Ansel didn't specifically say it was Beyond Good and Evil 2, but Ubisoft did eventually sort of decide to participate in marketing. On Facebook, they shared the artwork that Ansel posted on Instagram and posted, "If you've been waiting for news about Beyond Good and Evil, well, here you go. We're delighted to confirm that Michel Ancel is currently working with the Ubisoft Montpellier studio on a Beyond Good and Evil game." At long last, people thought, and then things got even more exciting the following year in 2017, when during E3 2017, we got an official announcement trailer showing brand new characters, a brand new cast, and this CGI trailer. Yes, it's CGI, but it's the most we've seen of the game, and honestly, what they're going for here looked pretty freaking awesome. And I mean, we finally felt like Beyond Good and Evil 2 actually existed, and like there was a possibility that it would be coming out. and the ideas conveyed here just looked genuinely really exciting. And while people expected that it'd take a while for this game to come out, especially given that on June 14th, 2017, The Verge released an article whose headline reads, "Beyond Good and Evil 2 is wildly ambitious, but it's still at day zero of development." At the very least, the project felt like it was finally real, like they've gone out of pre-production, like they've set the artistic, conceptual, and technological foundations, and like they were finally working on something. In the same article, The Verge reported that initially the game was planned as a sequel, continuing the intrigue-laden story that turned the first Beyond Good and Evil game into a beloved cult classic. Eventually, Ansel and his team at Ubisoft's Montpellier studio decided to switch directions and create a prequel. The idea was to build an experience that could be enjoyed by anyone, regardless of whether or not they played the first game, which people were generally fine with as long as Beyond Good and Evil 2 captured the essence of what made the first game special and just extrapolated and expanded upon that. But it was emphasized time and again that the game is, in fact, in its early days, in early development. We actually did get to see some gameplay footage a few days after Ubisoft's E3 press conference. This was a demo that Ansel showed off, and this was uploaded on the official Ubisoft YouTube channel. And here we could get a glimpse of the ambitions that they were aiming for, how seamlessly you could roam around the world by land or air, leave your ship sort of docked and just seamlessly fly around inside it and outside of it. The architecture, the landscapes, the environments, the cities. I mean, very ambitious indeed, but the seamlessness of it all and the scale of it all definitely impressed. You can see right, this is just one planet. And it was conveyed right here how you can travel to other planets. You can just keep zooming out and...
in a real solar system. So yes, I'm increasing the speed. You see the night here with the cities.
And the planet itself is actually moving
you can go everywhere. So if I'm going
in its own solar system.
there is no loading, fast movement.
Zooming back in, I mean, they even showed off some ship navigation and controls.
Plane speed we have on Earth.
You can seamlessly hop in and out, and the speed at which you can go, mighty impressive. I mean, this looks really cool, I'll be honest with you. It's still in its conceptual early stages, but it's something tangible, and you can seamlessly fly out of the planet into space, and the effects of like entering the atmosphere. You get the idea at this point. A very impressive demo for an early stage game, though of course there were concerns about whether such ambitions could be fully realized into a cohesive video game, especially given how long it's taken just to get to this point, but there was definitely a lot of hope back then, because they actually had plenty to show and an official announcement to make. And then the following year, during E3 2018, we actually got another cinematic trailer that looked something like this, and it showed more of the world, more of the aesthetics that they were aiming for, and it just looks freaking awesome, doesn't it? Except this concept has seemingly been scrapped as well. This idea for the game has apparently been rebooted, if reports are to be believed. And man, I'd be shocked if this game ever came out at this point. They even had some boots on the ground action gameplay that they showed off through this video. That was kind of an overview, a summary with commentary and everything.
It's a key part of do as an online foundations. It's sprawling and richly detailed.
Yeah, I mean, this was looking freaking awesome.
To tailor your machines to a bank.
I mean, ship customization and everything they showed off here.
Hold their own in a fight. You'll need special equipment
dogfighting
to take on larger vessels, but your fighter ships are at.
I mean, genuinely really freaking cool. You get the idea at this point. I mean, damn, look at this.
To give you an overview of the full Beyond Good and Evil at news.ubisoft.com.
Throughout the course of 2017 and 2018, they were releasing a bunch of footage in the form of development blogs like this one, where they show things like the ship and the crew, and you had developers talking about making this game and some of the features that players can expect. Right here we got footage released before E3 2018 highlighting staff combat and ship maneuvers.
So we are working all the mechanics of the staff.
It still, looked a bit rough around the edges, but there was something there definitely, and yeah, more blogs essentially. Another gameplay update was shown off highlighting augments, vehicles, co-op, and spyglass, and plenty of gameplay footage here. It just felt like
free to do so.
They were making a proper game finally.
Of flying vehicles. Any vehicle you see can be able to execute barrel roll. This is essential for...
And then next up we got this footage from 4 years ago, also December of 2018. This was just an entire demo walkthrough of the current pre-alpha stage of the game, or the pre-alpha build from back then. And they really, this is 26 minutes of commentary and footage that seemed to indicate a certain level of confidence. Even in 2019, we got a little glimpse of the game via this footage that highlighted character customization, Jade's history, and pirate concepts.
First up, the made a return.
And, the character models look pretty high fidelity.
Is your own space pirate a fully custom...
And yeah, they just continued to highlight more aspects of the game. They kept us updated. But then came 2020, and that's when things sort of began to fall apart, when it was reported that Rayman creator Michel Ansel quits video games to work on Wildlife Sanctuary, though Beyond Good and Evil 2 development continues without him. If reports that the project has been rebooted are to be believed, perhaps that's around the time when the reboot happened, because the project is now under new leadership. Optics weren't helped by reports exposing Ubisoft's workplace of harassment, abuse, misconduct, and discrimination, with Ansel himself being accused of being abusive and engaging in disruptive practices during Beyond Good and Evil 2's development. I don't know how much of that contributed to him retiring from game development and leaving Ubisoft and leaving Beyond Good and Evil 2, if his behavior proved to be disruptive enough that they had him make a silent, quiet exit before articles exposed all of the behind-the-scenes ugliness that happens within Ubisoft. From there, another year would pass, and Ubisoft would once again make the same reassurance they've been making for the last 13 years since Beyond Good and Evil 2 was confirmed. Ubisoft confirms once more that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still in development, so it hasn't been canceled yet as far as we know. And then finally, not long ago, on October of 2022, Beyond Good and Evil 2 took the crown from Duke Nukem Forever for having the longest game development time. And the thing about Beyond Good and Evil 2 is that there is no end in sight, because as Insider Gaming reports here, the game is apparently still in early development. They're still trying to figure shit out. And with reports of the game having been rebooted, I would expect that it's going to be a couple more years before we get yet another re-announcement of the title, yet another look at whatever build they have going on now, whatever concepts they're trying to bring to life, or whatever new version of the game might be in development, assuming that Insider Gaming's reports are true. Whatever the case, I'll be very curious to see if this game actually does come out at all, and if so, how long the totality of its development time will be by the time it launches. Will it be 20 years? I don't know. It's a possibility. More? Who knows? Or the project might just get killed off. So far, it doesn't seem like Ubisoft is giving up on it quite yet, but, the audience, the community, the people who have been anticipating this game have certainly lost all patience and hype for it. So yeah, that's the current state of Beyond Good and Evil 2. It's actually kind of laughable at this point how long this game has been in development and how poorly managed it's been. I do hope they commit to it and they do manage to release something that will be a worthy sequel to such a beloved series, or, the first game being such a beloved title. And hopefully this can turn into a series of games that can be celebrated. But for right now, I continue to be deeply concerned about the future of Beyond Good and Evil 2. When it does launch, even then, I'm concerned about whether it's going to be a good game even, because a game that goes through this kind of development hell tends to release in a very disjointed state, and who knows? It's possible they can pull it together. Final Fantasy Versus 13, that became Final Fantasy 15. That was like a 10-year development cycle. That eventually did pull it together to launch a game that was, pretty good overall. It's not necessarily everyone's favorite per se, but it wasn't this awful mess either. I wonder if Beyond Good and Evil 2 can actually pull it together, given all the trials and tribulations that it's gone through. Hopefully, with whatever reboot has happened and with new leadership, they can find some kind of focus, stick with a plan, and actually release a game. But until then, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on all of the information we currently have surrounding Beyond Good and Evil 2, and whether you think there is hope for this game to release, and if it does release, for it to release in a good state. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.